Alright, now we'll get the rest of the animations working for our player controls. Before we do that, I'd like for us to swap something out that we did in our previous version of the game. So we've got these scale X blocks. If we press left and right, the arrow keys, we're supposed to flip the player. Let's move those into our animation function. So we want to move both of these. This one was for the right arrow and this one was for the left arrow. We're going to move those down into our animation function. And here, play correct animations. Now, how are we going to recreate that? Well, we wanted when the left arrow was pressed, do -1 for the scale X. And when the right arrow is pressed, do 1. So we can check if the arrow is pressed and do that in here instead. So we'll go to control flow and we'll grab an if block. And we'll actually make this if block say if, else if, because it's going to ask if left arrow is pressed, else if right arrow is pressed. So change that if to else if, just like that. Okay, now we want to check if left arrow is pressed. That is from events. And we've got this block here under keyboard, key pressed. So this will be for the left arrow. And then we want to do the same thing to check if the right arrow is pressed. Right arrow. So if I'm alive, I want to be facing the right way. If the right arrow is pressed, my scale is 1. Left arrow is pressed, scale is -1. Alright, that's good. Now let's clean up these blocks. We can test that out real quick just to make sure that did work. Left, right, looks good. Now we'll get jumping, falling, running, and idle, standing still. We'll get all of those animations working. First of all, we'll check if the player is jumping. So we will, underneath these blocks where we make sure it's facing the right way, we'll add another if block in here. So if we're alive, we're going to check if we should be jumping. Now, if we're jumping, that means our y velocity is not 0, and we're actually moving upwards with a negative y velocity. So we want to check if our y velocity is less than 0, because negative numbers are less than 0. So we'll go to operators, grab that equals, change that to less than, and in here we want this to say velocity y from physics, velocity x, change that to y, if velocity y is less than 0. So just grab a number block. And if it is less than 0, then we want to play the jump animation. So we'll duplicate our play animation block, which is from animation, and we will type in jump. Okay. Now, before we go and do anything else, let's just make sure we can actually jump. So if I jump now, plays the jump animation, and then it's stuck playing that because it doesn't know what other animations to play other than dying. So we will go and add some more checks into our animation function.